Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Giselle Mills. If you're new, welcome, and welcome back to my subscribers. And also, welcome to my backyard, Caribbean backyard. So, if you hear any cooing, any screeching, if you see me swatting at flies, it's because, well, I'm in nature. So, yes, and it's all part of Caribbean life. You have insects, you have animals, you have noisy neighbors, you have cars speeding by, all of the above. So, ignore all that or enjoy it if you like the ambience, and let's get started. Today's video is a book review of the novel Americanah by the author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. She's a Nigerian author and she's written many books and she's quite well known. This book has been on my January TBR and I read it recently and loved it, so I'm just telling you guys up front, this is a very positive book review. I love this book. I was surprised that I liked it so much actually. My mother told me she had it, she told me she liked it, she told me I should start reading this one first because I never read anything else by the author, not yet. So this was my first introduction to her work and I'm very glad that I read it and loved it. So I will definitely be reading more of her books very soon. Now, what is this book about? If you haven't read it, basically, it's about a young couple. The girl's name is Ifemelu and the guy is Obinze, I believe. I hope I'm pronouncing the names right. It's a very interesting story. We have the main characters living in Nigeria, but they leave Nigeria in order to try to make a better life for themselves, but they leave separately. The female protagonist, Ifemelu, she moves to the United States, and the male protagonist, Obinze, he moves to England. And we see the story told from both perspectives, from Ifemelu's perspective as well as Obinze. And we see, how they live their lives, how they struggle when they reach their various new countries. Life isn't what they thought it would have been like. It's much harder for them. And basically it's a tale of how they're trying to adapt to their new countries, and they eventually find their way back to Nigeria and try to reconnect, because there is romance in this story. The two of them were young lovers. They loved each other since high school days, but I don't want to spoil it because there is a happily ever after, which I love happily ever afters. But anyway, the story is very interesting. It follows their lives in Nigeria in the beginning. Then when they leave, Ifemelu goes to America, it follows her life there. And Obinze goes to England, it follows his life there. And then they both end up returning to Nigeria. And we see what happens then. Now, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, so I'm just going to tell you guys what I loved about it. And well, no book is perfect, so there are a few things I didn't like either. But overall, my pros outweigh the cons. And yeah, let me tell you, before I lose the sunlight and before these mosquitoes eat me to death, what I liked about this book. Okay, so overall, I said I loved it. It's well written. The author, Chimamanda, she has such a beautiful way of putting across the story, and descriptions, found the descriptions to be very well written. It's very descriptive language. The story kept me captivated. I thought it was quite unique. It's told in a kind of a present, and then it flashbacks, and it comes back to the present and flashbacks again. I mean, those kind of stories tend to distract me, but this one wasn't all that distracting, so it was easy enough for me to follow. The story made me quite interested in learning more about Nigerian culture, and actually makes me kind of want to visit Nigeria. I never actually wanted to visit Nigeria before. I wanted to visit Africa, different countries like Botswana, Ghana, South Africa, but I never really thought of Nigeria to visit there. But since reading this novel, I definitely want to visit Nigeria. I love the relationship between the two main characters, Ifemelu and Obinze. The way how they're written, they're so real, relatable, although we're from basically, different cultures. Although I am of African descent, I grew up in the Caribbean. Although some things are similar, many things are different. And I love how these two characters come across. I love how the culture is represented. And we have a crowing rooster at minutes to 6 in the evening. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Right, Ifemelu and Obinze. I love their love story. I love how they interact, the relationship with each other. Ifemelu is kind of spicy and she says whatever she wants. Let's just try to ignore the chicken. rooster, whatever. Right, so Ifemelu, she says whatever she wants. She's blunt. I liked how she just says whatever is on her mind. And yeah, she kind of gets away with it. She doesn't really cause offense, but it shows that she's kind of brave, courageous, she's strong minded, she has good self esteem. I like the dynamics between Obinze and Ifemelu, as well as the family dynamics, relationship between Obinze, who's the male character, male protagonist, and his mother. It's quite loving. This chicken, I swear, it's been tormenting me. So yeah, I liked how their relationship was portrayed. And when they ended up leaving Nigeria, I found how their life, the struggles that they had to endure in their new countries, trying to acclimatize to a new culture and all of that. I found the struggle to have been depicted very well. I think the author did a very good job at that. And the struggles of the characters in this story really made me appreciate even more my blessings and the kind of lifestyle that I lead. Because it made me think about, there's so many millions of people who endure the kind of lives that these characters had to, move in, migrate into a new country in order to forge a better life for themselves, and being taken advantage of, basically having to run and hide from police or immigration. It's not good to have to live in fear, and be uncomfortable for so long. So when I want to complain about seemingly minor things, it puts all of this in perspective, that I'm blessed and I should appreciate what I have even more. So yeah, the characters, they felt real. All the struggles, the hardships that they went through was very, very well written. I also like the structure of the novel in the sense that at the end of certain sections, we were given snippets of Ifemelu's blog, the main character, female character. She writes a blog and we get little snippets in it, and some of them are quite amusing. Some really made me stop and think. Very good little snippets that, give the novel a bit of a unique feel to it. The story itself is filled with great themes such as love, friendship, family, forgiveness, resilience, respect, tolerance. I think I said I like the family dynamics, not just between, Obinze and his mother have a very loving relationship. Ifemelu and her family, her parents, they have a bit of a struggle in the beginning because of her outspokenness, and how it kind of clashes with what is expected of children in African households and Nigerian households, where the parents are the ones who are in charge, the ones of authority. Children are generally supposed to be quiet and speak only when spoken to. But Ifemelu is a very different character, and she speaks her mind and gets herself into trouble. It's brought across humorously, but despite the humor, you can still see that there's this respect for the parents. Another major part of the story, besides the immigration aspect and the struggles of migrants in new countries, we have Ifemelu's struggle with her hair journey. Now, Ifemelu is a black character, a black female character of African descent, and she basically struggles coming to terms with accepting her natural hair. And I loved how this was portrayed, because this is a reality for millions and millions of black women all over the world. And yeah, I thought it was very, very real and extremely relatable, because, I'm also black of African descent and I currently wear my hair natural. The way how the author portrayed Ifemelu's journey with her hair, being straight and wearing all these weaves and this fake hair, which was part of Nigerian culture, to eventually accepting, who she is and her hair as natural as it grows from her head. I thought that was well done, and I agree with it, because I agree with, accepting who you are in terms of how God made you. The fact that, your hair that comes out of your head is beautiful. You don't have to put a set of chemicals on your hair in order to make it beautiful. So we see Ifemelu showing her courage and independence when she decides to stop straightening her hair with those chemicals and accept her hair how it is, the texture that she was born with. That's another symbol of her independence. Also, in a sense, kind of rebellion, because she's doing something different that's not the norm in her culture. And yeah, I like that. So I thought this book gave a very good voice to the struggles of black women all over the world who fight to try and be accepted in society with their natural hair. And it's kind of crazy to even think about it in this year 2020, that people still have to go through this. Black women have to go through this, having to give an explanation as to why we wear our hair natural, Anyway, that's a topic for a whole different video. So yeah. Also, this book is filled with basically little discussions or viewpoints on race and identity. I thought it was well done. The racial struggles that the characters endured, leaving Nigeria, moving to England, the USA, and different interracial relationships and how those were portrayed. I thought it was pretty well done. Now, no character is perfect. Ifemelu is no exception, and despite her flaws, I actually thought her flaws made her even more of a stronger character. So the flaws that she has, I thought that they were very, I guess, realistic, relatable. They made her more human, and that was a plus for me. I also like the fact that the Igbo language was included. I don't know any Igbo, but I liked reading it. I did not skip over the Igbo. I tried to pronounce it as I thought it would be pronounced in my mind. And yeah, that also made me kind of want to look up, Igbo and see if I could learn a few sentences or something. But yeah, I like that as part of the Nigerian culture. Obinze, the male character, I liked his personality. He was loving, he was sweet, he was kind. Yeah, maybe a bit too perfect, but he isn't perfect at all. But I liked how sweet and caring he is. In terms of cons, only a few little things I did not like. I mentioned the structure of the story being told in flashback and the fact that it wasn't too distracting, but I did pause reading it for a little while, and when I came back to reading it after a day or two, I was a bit confused as to what was happening, so I had to read a few pages back to see what was going on because of the time jumps. That kind of distracted me a little bit right there, so that was a bit of a con. Also, the book is filled with many minor characters, friends of the main characters, and because I'm not accustomed to all the African names, I kind of lost track of who was who at some points. And although I liked Ifemelu, I did not like when she did certain things. I don't want to spoil it, but when she left Nigeria, I did not like how she treated Obinze, her boyfriend. I also did not like how she treated another character who, well, she got into further relationships. So I didn't like how she treated one of her boyfriends. And to me, how she treated the boyfriend, Kurt, who was, well, a white American, I thought she basically self-sabotaged the relationship. And if you wanted to go into deep discussion on that, I found that that kind of self-sabotage showed a bit of lack of self-esteem. On the one hand, you see her behaving with such confidence and independence. You think that she has high self-esteem, but this relationship with this white boyfriend really brought to light the issue with her natural hair as well. And yeah, it was very interesting. I also didn't like, maybe this is a bit of a spoiler, but I did not like how Obinze's wife was treated in the end. She seemed like the perfect wife, and she seemingly did no real wrong. She tried to be too perfect, but I really didn't like how she was treated. I don't like how Obinze treated her at all. She did not deserve it. But then again, I mean, as a discussion point, that's kind of like life, you could do everything right, you try to be perfect, and you still get harsh treatment, you still get booted out, you still get the short end of the stick. And lastly, as I told you guys, this book has a happy ending for the main characters, and I like happily ever afters. Just that I don't like it when happily ever afters occur at the expense of the happiness of another character. Well, a character who was basically good. And yeah, and that happened. Hey, overall it was a good story. I liked it. I thought the ending was unrealistic, but at the same time I was satisfied with it. Yes, I would have written it a bit differently, but overall I still enjoyed it. Very well written, beautiful descriptions, excellent portrayal of the immigrant struggle and adjustment to living in a new circumstance in a new country. The portrayal of the Nigerian culture was very well done. And yeah, I would definitely recommend this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. I just took off a 0.5 star because of, well, the cons that I told you. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. So far this is my favorite book of 2020 so far. So guys, that was my little book review on Americanah. If you've read this book, please let me know down below in the comments. Tell me what you liked about it, what you did not like, what did you rate it? Did you have similar opinions to me? And yeah, so let me know. I'm losing sunlight. I'm getting bitten up by mosquitoes. So time for me to get inside. So guys, thanks a lot for watching. If you're not subscribed already, please do. Just click that red subscribe button. Also the notification bell so you always know whenever I post a new video. I'm also active on Twitter. You can find me at Giselle_Mills. I'm also on Instagram at Caribbean Books. I also have a website, which is GiselleMillsBooks.com. So guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.